Welcome to ResponseABLE Parenting, the podcast that shows you how to parent in alignment to your emotions, needs, and goals versus your programming, bad advice, and let's face it, outdated strategies that just don't work. You'll get in the trenches support on nervous system and emotional regulation, critical mindset shifts, stronger communication strategies, and more. In this podcast, you'll gain transformational tools that take you from reacting to every frustration to responding with clarity, regulation, and finally setting the example you desire for your kids. I'm Becky Jennings, your new parenting coach, and this is the ResponseABLE Parenting podcast. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome back to another episode, and welcome to the thick of holiday chaos. I know it is just go, 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 go in our house. I swear my children come home and they tell me about 55 different treats that they had at school, and I just know that sugar is on the rise. Screens are on the rise with all the holiday movies and all the things we want to jam pack in there with the travel, with, just so many parties and engagements and recitals and all the things. It is holiday in full swing, and that is very dysregulating, right? Our kids love a structure. They thrive on schedules. They thrive with knowing what is coming up, and the holidays don't really offer that. So we are getting a lot of the chaos infused and a lot of the structure lost. And that just makes it 10 times harder to have a seamless travel day, right? Travel days already are challenging, but adding all the extra excitement to the mix, expectations not being met, it can go sideways very, very quickly. So I am going to share with you today my top travel tips on how to help your child stay regulated. Now, don't worry, next week I am talking all about you, and I'm going to share my top tips on how I stay regulated during travel and into the holidays. So this is going to be very, very helpful. Save it, share it, take a screenshot of the show notes where I'm going to list them as well. I'm also going to have a reel associated with this. So it's going to go boom, 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 boom. You're going to be able to see them kind of visually as well, giving you a solid head start during the travel holiday season. Okay. So these can be used anywhere, right? These can be used all year round. I'm just giving you very specifics for travel. So we can do this before we jump in the car. We can do this at a gas station. We can stop along the side of the road and do this if our kids are getting really amped up. We can do this in the airport, right? We can do this at the check-in. We can do this as we're walking down the traveling escalators. We can do this at the gate in the seats. We can do this in the aisles of the airplane. So I am covering you from top to bottom. These are going to be really, really solid support ways for your children to emotionally regulate, to activate their brain, to stimulate their nervous system in a positive way, and give us every tool we can have, fingers crossed, that support us through the finish line of a really tough travel day. Okay, how I like to look at my children are these buckets of empty space, right? They're just these empty buckets that are being filled all day long with different sensory inputs. All day long, they're getting filled with different sort of experiences. Maybe something was said to them. Maybe they didn't get what they wanted. Maybe they heard no too many times, and their dysregulation is filling. And it is our job to sense that, kind of recognize when they're starting to kind of get overstimulated. Their bucket is filling too quickly, and we get to dump that bucket out in a really safe, helpful way. And that is the regulation practice. All right. Number one, a very solid one to go to no matter what, is pushing on each other's hands. So you're going to stand in front of your child. Your child is going to be facing you. Your hands are going to be together, fingers together. So you have a flat palm. And you are going to have them push against you as hard as they can. Now, you can create a game out of this. You can say that you want to see if they can push you over 10 times. You could say that you want to see if they could push you from one end of the walking escalator in the airport to the end of the walking escalator in the airport, right? You could, at the gas station, you could see if they could push you all the way to the mini mart, right? Whatever you can come up with it. add that extra to it. Instead of just planting and pushing, add some fun elements to it. That's always going to amplify the positive experience, right? But this is actually super, super important because it provides some grounding feedback for them. Our kids need to have that proprioceptive input that feels really sturdy, that feels really grounded, that feels really safe. This is why weighted blankets are so, so helpful, right? It's that grounded feedback that they're getting against their body. So it's providing a safe sensory input for them. It's building their brain, they're building that proprioceptive information, right? Proprioception, meaning their awareness of their body in space. It helps them increase their focus. If you add competition, it's building that dopamine for them. So just that hand-to-hand feedback is super positive. That's just number one. And it's giving you so many positive results from that interaction. Okay, moving on to number two. And I'm also going to combine one and another, and I'll tell you about that and how positive that is for me and my children. So I'll tell you about that next. But the next one is spinning. Okay, spinning in circles. So I don't know if you were did this when you were a little kid, but my dad used to always put his finger facing down, and I would hold on to it, and he would kind of spin me in a circle, right? And I would just laugh, and I loved it. It was just like the spinning. You can also take your kid, and they can stand, and you can just on their shoulders kind of be pulling them and rotating them in a circle right in front of you, right? Why is this helpful? For many ADHD kids, they have an under-responsive vestibular system, an under-responsive vestibular input. That's that inner ear, that part of their nervous system that helps them understand, again, where their body is in space. And it helps a lot when we're doing this spinning. That movement really does help them regulate, right? When it helps activate that vestibular system, and it helps them feel safe in their bodies. So when you can activate that for them and you can help them with their balance, help them with their movement in that process, it helps activate that portion of their nervous system, creating not only a rise in dopamine because we're adding connection, we're adding that comfortability of us being with them, kind of creating yet again another way of physical to physical contact. It's just an all around wonderful way. You're going to hear your kid be like, again, do it again, do it again. They're going to absolutely love this. So adding spinning, whether it's on your finger or you're spinning for them. And then I'll tell you my combination of spinning and swinging in a few, but that is very, very helpful. So adding some spinning to it. Maybe they have their arms out wide into a T, and you're just having them spin in a circle all on their own. Whatever works, just add some spinning to it. Okay. The third is hanging upside down. So you can do this where your kid is sitting on your lap and they're facing you, and then they hang off your lap, right? Their head is facing the ground. You could do that standing where they place their hands like on your feet. If you don't want them to be touching the ground of the airport or wherever you are, they can have their hands on your shoes, and you can be holding on to their legs, and they can be basically in an upside down handstand. You could also pick them up, and so their legs are wrapped around your hips, and then you kind of hold on to their arms as their head drops and their legs are holding onto you, and you have them hanging upside down. From there, you could also kind of swing around if you want, or sway side to side. So however you can get your child into an inverted positioning is super, super helpful. It's also providing, similar to the pushing hands, it's providing that powerful sensory feedback, right? The joints are positioned in a different way. Their spine is being stretched. It, again, is stimulating that vestibular system, right? That deep pressure aspect of it, giving the joints some different mobility. It increases blood flow to the brain, giving it more oxygen. We're getting some more dopamine hits in there. So if you can add that to the mix, I know last year when we were traveling, my kids would they would sit on me facing me, I'd hold on to their hands and kind of do one of those flips, right? And they'd flip off of me and they'd come back, and they'd flip off of me and come back. You can also do that standing where you're holding your kids' hands. They kind of crawl up your body and do a backflip there. These are also really beautiful practices that they get not only that spinning, they get the deep pressure, they get the hanging sensation, they get the vestibular input. It is all really, really powerful stuff. Now, I'm just focusing on physical releases. We haven't even touched the breath work that we can do or the other things we can do. This is all focused on the physical stuff. Can I be super real with you and tell you a personal story? A few years back, my son, the whole reason why I do the job I do today, was having one of those fiery moments. He was talking back, demanding it be his way. He was refusing to listen to any of our solutions, and the moment was getting really intense. My husband looked at me and said, "Well, you know all the parenting stuff, fix this." I completely froze. All the scripts from the books I'd read, all the strategies from the podcasts I'd listened to completely disappeared from my brain in that moment. But based on the volume of challenges that we were having with our strong-willed ADHD son, I knew I had to figure out a different way, because panicking in the moment and grasping at anything only to not follow through at all and end up yelling just wasn't working. From this experience, I developed a repeatable, easy to remember, and easy to follow system that literally works with every single triggering moment. I can attest to it because there are many in my life. Now I can show up the way I want. I can communicate in a way that actually resonates with my strong-willed child. If this sounds like a solution for what's happening in your home, take these next 2 steps. Number 1, watch the free training about my rewiring process in the show notes. And then number 2, book your free call. On that call, we will talk about what's happening in your home, and you will get a customized solution that works best for you. I assure you, this doesn't have to feel as hard day in and day out as it does. There is the solution, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it. The next one is balancing. Balancing is super helpful, right? It's going to reduce that racing mind that your kid might be experiencing. It's going to help with their attention and their focus, right? Because they have to be flexing their muscles. They have to be really engaged in the moment. It's also going to regulate their mood. It's going to help with emotional control because their nervous system is so focused on staying in balance, right? It's going to boost their dopamine, and it's really going to help them with that proprioceptive responsiveness, right? Next is swinging. Swinging is going to be such a rhythmic regulator. I love swinging. And you can always spot a mom in a grocery store because even if she doesn't have kids, she's swaying back and forth, right? She's just swaying back and forth. And that rhythmic motion is just such a natural cue from childhood, from infancy, from rocking in the womb. It's basically saying, you're safe, you're held, I've got you. This is actually a combination of swinging and spinning is my go-to regulator for my ADHD son, and proven also that my strong-willed child loves it as well. So what I do is I'm standing, my son puts his back against my chest. So we are both facing in the same direction. We both put our arms out into a T, and I hold on to his hands. And I kind of start to pretzel spin him. So I'll take my left hand and I'll cross it over all the way to my right hand, which my arms are longer. So he's going to make almost an entire circle, right? Almost facing me. And then I'm going to untangle him. And then I'm going to take my other arm to the other side and kind of go back and forth. So I'm just swinging him back and forth over and over. We call it pretzel boy. It's it's fun. And we just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And you can get bigger and you can add your own sways and you can try to spin him at the same time and you can try to swing him all the way down to the ground. They love it. It is such a natural regulator. It makes them feel silly. There's going to be a lot of laughter. Their core has to be engaged. Their brain has to be engaged. It is overall one of my favorite combinations of adding a swing and a spin together. it's a 10 out of 10 for my kids. All right, moving on to bouncing. Again, we are focusing on the rhythm. So they can be standing and bouncing like a little pogo stick all on their own, right? That's actually really beautiful proprioceptive input for them. They're hitting the ground, they're getting that feedback from the ground. It's signaling to their nervous system that they are safe. They also get to really bounce out some of that excess energy. We're going to get a rise in endorphins. And it's said that these like rhythmic bouncing, swinging, swaying motions, it's almost like a full brain body reset for these kids. It allows the brain to kind of click back in, and it allows them to feel that sensorial input to their body, also telling their nervous system, you are super safe in this moment. Okay, so we're talking anything of that rhythmic nature is really going to help our children calm their body down, get into that reset mode, and just be able to kind of dump out some of that excess growing feedback that they're getting and get back into a calm, maybe not calm, but not agitated space. All right, and the last one is bear crawls. So you could have them take on kind of any animal. Bear crawls, we know from exercise, that's when you have your hands on the ground and your knees are slightly hovering and you have to walk left hand, right foot, right switch, right hand, left foot. And you're kind of walking in that fashion. Now, this requires a lot of mental energy because you have all limbs moving at the same time. Not only are you getting that active feedback from the ground, but it's activating multiple places in their brain, right? Hemispheres have to connect because you're adding different movements of different sides of the body at the same time. They start to build a pattern in their brain. Their low brain has to focus because they have to engage in some pretty solid coordination, right? Their body is engaged, their muscles are flexing, their core is engaged, which is helping with balance. Their prefrontal cortex is engaged because they have to have working memory, right? Which arm and leg did I just move? And they're actually having to focus at the same time. So there's so much going on in this particular one. It is such a solid one for children. You can add in bear noises if you'd like to get them really activated and really engaged. You could have them act like you could have, instead of calling it a bear crawl, you can say like you're a lion, on a hunt or something like that. Or you're a cat creeping up on a mouse, or you're a gorilla. It doesn't really matter what animal you call it. But this is going to give their whole top to bottom, like literally from the very tippy top of their head, it's activating every muscle in their arms, their shoulders, their back, their core, their hips, their glutes, their quads, their calves, their toes. I mean, that from top to bottom is a huge one. So if you can add that in, that's a huge win. And then if you are at your wit's end, let's start playing some games that really shift their focus and get them engaged. So that would be like freeze, right? Freeze tag, maybe even, where you have like, if you have space. Again, this is only if you have space and it is really not affecting other people around you. Because there are some gates that there is not a single soul sitting there. So please have at it, play a game there. But if you're in a tight place, probably not that, right? If you're in a tight place and the gate is packed, maybe right in front of you, you're just playing Simon Says, right? That's going to activate their brain and their body. It's going to also build connection. It's going to keep them engaged. They're going to have fun. But again, if you have space, add some freeze tag, maybe even throw in some red light, green light in there so that we're practicing our impulse control. We're also activating that energy and that stimulation of like, oh gosh, is it going to be red light? Is it going to be green light? And there's that competition as well. So let's go over from the top. We have the pushing of hands, hand to hand pushing, huge. Then we have the spinning, whether you're supporting the child in the spin or they're doing it independently, hanging. Anytime you can get your child inverted, that's going to be super, super helpful for them as well. Balance challenge, whether you're balancing, helping them balance maybe on one leg in the beginning, or you're just, leaving them off to balance on their own. Swinging, okay? Swinging side to side, swaying side to side. I like to do the combination of swing and spin together with the pretzel arms. That's always fun. Bouncing, and then the bear crawls. These are going to be huge, huge physical regulators for your children. And again, if you have the space, add some huge, massive dysregulation dumping ground games, which are freeze tag, red light, green light, Simon Says. These are going to be really, really, really helpful. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helps so much during your travels. And up next week, I will be sharing the 12 regulating things that I practice on a regular basis that I will be using 100% during the holiday season. All right, I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. If you like what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. If you know someone who would benefit from this podcast, I'd be honored if you'd share this episode with them. Until next time, know that you are enough, you are capable, you've made it through all of your hardest days, and we will keep growing on this parenting journey together. This podcast was produced by Kim Kelty and myself, Becky Jennings, and edited by the Kelty Method, Branding and Podcasting.